Okay, so I had the wonderful opportunity to visit the Church History Museum, and I took photos of the forward-facing painting that's done by David Rogers, 1842. The painting was said by Joseph Smith III. In his newspaper, the Saints Herald, it was painted when his father was 36 years old. Again, that's less than a month after he submitted the photo of the painting to Library of Congress. And it's his newspaper. He's the editor-in-chief of is the Saints Herald. Emma said that the painting was not a very good likeness because like his countenance was changing all the time. And then Joseph also said himself that it was a pretty good likeness, being that this painting so well matches the Carter photos that like David Lindsley thinks is a real photo of Joseph Smith from the late 1880s. And Joseph Smith III's commissioned touched-up photo he sent to the Library of Congress in July 1879. I think that's evidence enough to assume that Carter's photos were simply copies of photos of the forward-facing painting, but it doesn't mean the daguerreotype didn't exist. Some people think that what Carter had. It's not a photo of the man. Anyway, and they tried to make it look more true to life, like all those statements. I don't know why people think that it's really Joseph Smith. Anyway, there was a lot going on with Joseph Smith's personal life at the time the painting was made. So September 1842 is when he wrote in the journal that he was with Rogers on the 16th, all the way to like Monday or something, like 4 days. He'd been in hiding for months. He'd been hiding in Iowa, not able to go outside, not able to run. Not necessarily he ran, but he did do sports, wrestle, and do his usual athletic hobbies. He was very athletic. Sorry, my eye's watering. So Joseph surely gained a lot of weight because of the sudden sedentary lifestyle. Plus, he had many wives visiting who surely brought him cookies. I'm sure of it, to help cheer him up. But anyway, at this point, I think I don't know where Rogers painted him, in Iowa or Nauvoo. It was probably Nauvoo, because same backdrop of what Emma, her painting is of. But you also consider in 1842 he and Emma both went up against John C. Bennett's prostitution of some of the women in Nauvoo. It did happen. It's in his letters. It's in Emma's speech. It's in the High Council minutes. It happened, unfortunately. So a lot of my gut excommunicated. Anyway. And then also they had just lost another baby, like a stillbirth, that year, that spring. And that September really marked the year since baby Don Carlos had died, a year since his brother Don Carlos had died, both have the same name. So anyway, according to Junius F. Wells, Joseph was not in good spirits. He wasn't happy. He probably was slouched. He's probably, that's part of my theory that maybe he tried painting him with its head down and then it came back, or maybe that could make the nose longer. Like if you took a snapshot of me like this, and anyway, it would change it. And so Wells says that David Rogers, he's the only person that said the full name, had to cheer him up, being jolly to make him laugh. And so subsequently, according to him, in this article, in 1885, Junius F. Wells, Joseph looks like he's about to laugh. And likely is why Joseph Smith said that he looked like a silly boy. Anyway, so some have held back support simply because the image I own, which forensic scientists have backed and dubbed as the likely the American prophet Joseph Smith. It has a slightly receded hairline. Ironically, not much more receded than a photograph I found of 16-year-old David Hiram Smith. Just had a big forehead. As a baby, he had a big forehead. You can see when Emma's holding him in 1845. He's got a forehead that retreats backwards. But he's not having receding hairline and male pattern baldness as a baby. It's just where the hairline ended up. And so then if Joseph gets this much, people freak out. Guys, he was 36 when the painting was done, and then 38 when he died. And I think he was 38 still when the daguerreotype was taken, because that's when Lucian Foster was there, when he was 38, and he died when he was 38. Okay, so as I look at the painting, I'm like being able to see it in high resolution on my computer, and I still have more analysis I want to do, but I'm just gonna let you know some of the things. It is high gloss, and you can see little specks of things, and they could have done the lighting a little bit better. But anyway, I noticed something kind of new. An oddly placed cleft, usually located in the middle of the chin. In the painting, it's seen farther to Joseph's right. I've clearly seen in my CDV as well. Both men have a rounded, not flat chin, which was noted as being seen on the death mask in the Anthropological Review paper, a morphological comparison between a death mask of the American prophet Joseph Smith and a photograph likely to depict him. And then I also saw that the upper lip in the painting of Joseph Smith shows a similar line, or like maybe, and also kind of like a 5 o'clock shadow in a similar shape, expression lines as well. And the left, his left, or right, is seen a line going more diagonally. And probably the most ironic thing you discovered that I've mentioned previously is the forward-facing painting of Joseph Smith shows a smaller left nostril than his right, not just in my photograph, which due to the lamp on the table, I theorize there's a lamp on the table, casting light upward, creating not only dramatic effect, but it's also blowing it out. So if there's a window and the lamp, that's why it's blown out. And so he didn't have a studio, obviously. Whoever took the photo of my guy in my picture didn't have a proper studio, didn't have proper lighting. J.S. Bibbins, all of his photos have perfect lighting. So good that you can't even see wrinkles on like a 60-year-old, 70-year-old woman. Anyway, if you are not up to date with my past analysis of the most probable daguerreotypes taken by Lucian Foster in Nova, Illinois, who Joseph Smith III attributed to taking the daguerreotype taken of his father, images of Phoebe and Wilford Woodruff are found in the Church History Archives, linked on my page about provenance, where I point out similar harsh side lighting, and in Phoebe's image is a hint of a lamp on the table on the left side. They are the best candidates for the daguerreotypes. For lighting comparisons, as Wilford is the only well-known individual who actually wrote in his journal that his daguerreotype was taken by Foster. So these two images are the earliest known daguerreotypes of the couple. Aside from an oval cut metal daguerreotype of a slightly older looking Wilford, and the one I've been favored of is possible was once in a brooch for his wife. Also noted as being made by Cannon in Boston just a handful of years later. In the family blogs online, ironically note a way older brooch. I mean, man, way older Wilford. Way older. And they think that was done a handful of years ago. I'm like, no, he didn't age that fast. And I'd mentioned it before, trying to understand how he I don't think that was it. I think, but I think the one that Mr. Fox, if I'm off on the name, I'll have to look again. I'll put a little note in here, that he bought off of eBay, and it is Wilford Woodruff. Because there's a verified picture of Wilford, it was really easy for him to verify that he found a real verified picture of Wilford. That's why it's so hard with Joseph Smith. We got like this death mask of Joseph Smith who's died, and they're trying to figure out what injuries happened before he died, what would be seen in the photo, what happened when he died. It's hard. Anyway, but back to the topic. The right nostril in both the painting and the photograph is larger than Joseph's left. Excuse me. And the cartilage coming from the darkest area of the right nostril appears thickened. Again, more likely due to the bad lighting. So in my picture and in the painting, but in the bad lighting in my picture, the light coming from below for years. I was like, wow, until I saw Phoebe's picture, I didn't know why there was light coming from below. Then you realize how tall Joseph was. There's a gas lamp on a table. So light's coming from below. Okay. Going into the inner part of the portion of the right nostrils, that's why it seems like that nostril's not big enough, or that the cartilage. So now I do not propose that the painting therefore was based on the daguerreotype, or my daguerreotype. Too much evidence from Joseph Smith III's own letters, newspaper, the Saints Herald, and Junius F. Weld's chats with Emma. But the 1910 letter does say some sustaining of the painting was done. Well, that would be like upkeeping. If it like started to fade, keeping the characteristic likeness of his dad. Maybe little Joseph was looking at my CDV and seeing his father's left nostril. I also note there's sort of a little dot, like since I've held it, and I'll even show you, it's real, of me moving it around, that I wonder if they maybe put a tack in it and held it up somewhere. It's possible. I'm not sure it goes all the way through, but they might have tried to do that carefully so that guy could like do the duplicate oil painting has more characteristics seen like in my photo, but seeing high resolution of this painting, I'm seeing the same things basically. I'm going to continue on. So Joseph Smith's eyebrows in the painting are better seen, and I notice more clearly than before Joseph's right, seen as our left, has a thin spot in the inner portion of his right eyebrows. Better seen in the duplicate oil painting as it has no gloss. And that right eyebrow curves downward to the temple, meeting with his hairline. And their left eyebrow does the opposite. It curves upward. The only difference is the thickness of his left eyebrow matches in the painting, but is thinner in my photograph of the man. Sorry, I worded that weird, but my picture better matches the death mask of the prophet Joseph Smith. So that's what they noted in the paper, that left eyebrow is just thinner, it's shorter, it's so unique, and many other things. They're very unique. And Joseph's eyes in the painting, seeing it high resolution, are amazing to see. Their left eyes have a similar line coming downward diagonally, and their upper eyelid has a deep, sharper angle towards the inner portion near the brow bone. Indications the step deformity to Joseph Smith's left eye existed as early as 1842 and was not a result of the martyrdom. And their right eye has a very similar expression lines, wrinkles. I would say they both have almond-shaped eyes. They're not downturned. At the outer corners, they don't go down, but it does in the Larson locket. I'll just note that. The difference is in the painting with the bouffant hair has, never been an issue for me. The fact that Joseph and Emma saw differences in the painting to the man, like, it's pretty good. Oh, I look like a silly boy, They weren't too impressed with the painting. Leads me to believe that part of David Rogers' way of making Joseph Smith laugh was him taking artistic liberties. So maybe Joseph was insecure. He had permanent balding from poison and being dragged by the hair in 1832 mobbing, according to Levi Hancock's journals. He had male pattern baldness and other work that summer, not seen in the painting, but, Maudsley, from the summer, and this is the fall, so of 1842. Summer 1842, this is fall. It's after. He didn't suddenly regrow his hair. Maybe Rogers cheered him up with, "Hey, Joseph, why don't we get rid of that bald spot on the right side of your forehead?" His right or left, which you can see in my picture, like a strange, huge, anyway. And he paints a horribly angled, too straight line on his right side of his forehead, and the asymmetrical temporal regions look symmetrical, and evidence that Rogers, because many said he had an asymmetrical forehead and all this stuff that was really unique. And evidence that Rogers did this is that he overcorrected plus the right area of his forehead has has fine details like little hairs, like looks more time was spent on it. And anyway, so when you zoom in, you can see it looks like natural. It's like it's hair coming out of his head. It doesn't look like a toupee. Whereas again, the left, his right. No, his left. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting confused here with his left and our right because I'm not looking at it right now. Whereas again, his left, our right, is sort of that harsh straight line, and it doesn't have all that detail. So I'm thinking that made him laugh. Like, you're insecure about this? Let's just fix it. Benjamin Winchester said, no one would fail to notice Joseph's peculiar shaped head, especially his retreating forehead. And he's criticizing, and this is like late 1880s. It's 1885. So as after 1885 that this quote is, these cabinet cards and things are failing to show the peculiar shape of his head and the retreating forehead. He's talking about the hairline. He's saying Carter's photos of the painting itself is not accurately depicting Joseph Smith's hairline or his forehead. So retreating forehead of a forward-facing painting. What direction is it going to retreat? Think about it. Because Maudsley's artwork was also on cabinet cards, because that was from life, that was popular, but we know that he traced Joseph's shadow, so he got the shape of his forehead just fine. Sometimes he painted him with more hair and sometimes less hair. So you might see some in I don't see the receding hairline in this one. It's because somebody looks like a little boy. And other ones you can see the receding hairline very well. And that 1 inch of thinning hair. It's not even completely bald. It's like half an inch of just where his hair's gotten thin. Anyway, it did not show the correct hairline, forehead, peculiar shape, i.e. the left side that is more receded from the beating that Joseph had endured a decade prior to the painting. Whatever your opinion, many similarities exist between the forward-facing painting of Joseph Smith and my 1800s photograph of him. Okay, guys, have a good day.